Okay, good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Monsoon Challenge. This was the idea of Lad Lindsay, and so Lad, I see you're on board here, and I'll let you go first and share your image. Remember, the idea here was to take a picture of either M13 or M16, and so we'll start with Lad and let him share what he got.
Okay, let me see how well I can. Okay, can you see my screen then? Okay, with M16?
Yep.
Okay. I didn't realize how appropriate the description of a monsoon challenge was going to be. So there was limited amount of time to actually get some images. I shot this several different ways. This was the first just an RGB image. This was shot with the stellar view 130 centimeter refractor, or did I say it? Anyway? Yeah, 33. So at 910 focal length. The first time I shot it with the RGB filters, and then I also shot it with the one shot color. I shot it with a Raza 8. And using the Optilong L Extreme, which actually was kind of interesting because that came very close to getting this image. This was shot again with the stellar vision or stellar view with the standard narrowband filters. But of course, this took about 90 minutes per exposure. Or a stack of 9-10 minute exposures for each of the filters. And I'm surprised at how close the results were between these two. And then I just added the stars in, and this is, oops, and I got it, and let me see, it's okay. So added the stars back in, and the stars I didn't bring in that well. But anyway, so this was M16. It's not bad. If I had more time, I would love to shoot it again and see what I could come up with it. And then I did also shoot M13, and this was the finished result of that one, which wasn't too bad, but I really only took about a half hour to shoot this. It was, again, with the stellar view, with the RGB filters. And let me see what I shot that with 10 60-second exposures for each of the filters. So that what I was looking for was to get some resolution here without blowing out the center. I was a little bit disappointed that I didn't, and I'm sorry that I just keep talking, and I'm just about done. But I was in the luminance, I shot luminance as well. And there were a bunch of these little galaxies, which I wished I'd gotten. You can see my tracking wasn't very good in this, which is why I didn't use it. But I ended up losing all of those galaxies when I came in here in order to darken out the background. But that, sorry to ramble on for a while, but that's what I got.
Okay, very good. Who wants to go next? The floor is open.
I'll take it if it's okay.
Okay, do it.
Well, as many of you know, I don't do much of my own photography, but I do purchase images and I'll work on those. Let's see here. I need to share the one that says advanced portion of screen share. And this is the data set I used for my M16, and it's a 17-inch plane wave that's hosted down in Chile by Deep Sky West. And the image is a narrowband SHO with a total exposure time of about 23.5 hours. And I processed it. Largely, the pre-processing is in PixInsight, and post-processing is split between a few apps, but Topaz is one of my go-tos. And by the way, when you look at this M16 is a long way off. I've seen estimates between 5,000 and 7,000 light years. And if you do all the calculations on the pixel and look at my images, one pixel on my screen anyway, according to my math, is about 10 to the 15th kilometers. So a little black dot that's on the screen is that large in space. So
We're seeing a letter on
yes,
or on top of your image.
absolutely. That's the description I was just telling you about.
Okay.
Okay, so here is
Better.
here's the image. Hopefully now you see that. As I said, processed in Topaz and PixInsight. And that's the center of the nebula. And this is rendered in, this is SHO, but mapped into true color. And so I could do photometric color calibration on the stars, which drag the colors a little bit from where I had them in the nebula, but not real far. And this is zoomed in on the center. A question would be how much of that detail is really there. And I compared it to the Hubble telescope pictures, and it's similar. Of course, I don't have the resolution they do, and I don't do mine for science. I do it for the artistic part. And so that's my contribution to tonight's activities. Thank you.
I would love to have 23 hours of data.
Very good. Very good. All right. Thanks, Alex. Who wants to go next?
I can do it.
Okay, do it.
Okay. So if I can, I'm going to try to use AstroBin to show this to you because I don't have to recopy everything. See if I can get this to do what I want it to do here. There we go. That helps the screen. Okay, so I'll give you a peek at it. This is M16 and SHO, and it has a story behind it. I actually did it in regular broadband also and didn't really care for the results, but let me just go down and review the equipment with you. It's an Edge 8 HD 8-inch with a 294 mm Pro on an Astrophysics 900 GTO. These are regular old standard Bader filter sets that are 10 years old now. It's reduced with the optic Lepus 0.62, had a rotator which had nothing to do with this, and of course a filter wheel. Use PixInsight significantly. I didn't, I have a short summary down to tell you exactly what I did in it. With a lot of Photoshop, captured it in Nina. And I actually guided it with a 72 millimeter, 430 millimeter focal length refractor. I'm still struggling to get consistent guiding with the Edge 8 using a guide scope, which continues the story. So what I actually ended up taking here was originally 65-minute exposures of each filter. I literally had 180. And then I unfortunately had to leave for Seattle, and so I brought the data with me. And by the time I started looking at it, the guiding was absolutely awful. And I have no idea why. I've had a little better success in this with some of the other images, but in any event, looking at eccentricity only of less than 0.6, which is down here, I could only use 21 of these subs to make this picture, which is about an hour and 45-minute total integration with the details here. So I really figured it was useless, but I'm having nothing to do up here in Seattle, astroimaging wise anyway, I decided to try to process it up. So I did, and the summary here I'll go through real quickly. You guys know these terms probably. I blinked it, of course, and that got me onto how bad things were. I subframe selected to pick the ones with the lowest eccentricity, WBPP, of course. And I found, by the way, with this few of images, you definitely want percentile integration on this. I tried it with the other way, and it came out much, much worse than using this type of integration. ABE, color calibration, MSLT for linear noise reduction. And then I moved to Steve Miller's process to basically use color mask to push the colors toward the Hubble palette. I think I shared some of his information on the news group if you're interested in trying it. It works pretty well for me. I did extract a lume from the color master and deconned it and used Star Exterminator to get rid of the stars, cleaned up the color nebula, darkened the star image background, saturated the stars, and put the stars back using pixel math. Saved TIFFs and moved to Photoshop, where I combined the nebula and the star image using luminance layering, in this case, not pixel math, and used camera raw extensively to touch up contrast, a little bit more noise reduction, and I did some local high pass sharpening. And subsequent to that, I actually discovered a new tool, a new add-in for Photoshop called Sharplet by Redfield. It's free. It's a sharpening tool, which actually improved the images quite a bit. Let's see if you can get a sense of this. In fact, you might like the unsharpened one better, but I don't know if this comes at this is large enough you can see. This is what it looked like without the Sharplet sharpening, but did have topaz in it. And this next one shows it with Sharplet. So if you look at it, you can see that what Sharplet does some things, you know, that may not really be there. It works on the edges and everything. But it does, from a larger perspective, looking at it from a distance, makes it pop a little bit more. Star color seemed okay to me, and so I was pretty happy to be able to make this image with just that little bit of data, and that's my contribution. Questions?
I have a general question about the Eagle Nebula. What part of it is considered the Eagle? I always thought about the small part that you're showing there in the center of the screen, but as you look at the image larger, is the whole large nebula what's called the Eagle Nebula?
I think a larger field of view would probably show something that looks like the Eagle. I had trouble finding it myself. Maybe somebody else could comment.
I think the larger is because this smaller group is known as the what the pillars of creation.
Yeah.
Which always look like a chicken to me a little bit from, but I can go next and show, because I've got what I consider the whole eagle, if that's all right. When you're done, Michael.
I'll stop sharing.
Okay. Let's see.
By the way, rather than a chicken, I always think it looks like an eagle,
Yeah.
you know, snatching
Yeah.
a fish out of the water.
Well, this was shot. It was 2 nights data. I was going to be gone, so I shot this in late May, as you can see, the 21st and 24th, with my C11 183 color camera, the Antlia filter, which I've recently picked up, and it's very similar to the L Extreme, but it's even tighter bandwidth. So as a dual band filter. Anyway, I was going for the maximum amount of nebulosity, and I kept whatever I put the stars back in. I just didn't care for what it was doing to the nebulosity, and it just took something away from it. So I just left them out. And so it's not realistic, but this is the way I like it. And the resolution came out pretty good when you zoom in on it. So these were 45-second exposures, and lots of them. In 2 nights, 457 that passed muster in subframe selector at 45 seconds. So it's like 5.7 hours at f1.9. So that was my take on the Eagle.
How long did the processing take, Randy?
Probably. I went ahead, let's see, I stacked all of the frames together since the open, but I locked it back on the same place. So I stacked all 500. Well, it must have been it was probably over 600 that now let's see, subframe selector, I did that. It probably takes better part of an hour to run subframe selector and do all of that. And I think then the stacking itself took about an hour.
Okay.
So it takes a long time, but it's surprising that it's quite a narrow filter and what you can get in 45-second frames. And it solves any guiding problems you have with that short exposure. So anyway, that's what it did.
Striking.
Very good.
Thank you.
I'm sure
All
we've
right,
got some more
let me-
folks.
Let's see. Oop, I
Who would like to
gotta
go next?
Stop share. Okay.
Anybody?
I'm happy to do it.
Okay.
Mine contrasts with Randy's vivid color. Here we go. That visible?
Yep.
So I was intrigued by the name Star Queen and went looking to read about it. And one article I found said that it was one of the structures in the center of the nebulosity looked like a throne, but somebody else on Astrobin had rotated the image 90 degrees, and I thought, well, there's the Star Queen. So my whole processing was focused on turning this into a celestial portrait, and I thought it was clearer without stars. This is shot with an Astrophysics Traveler 105 on a Wes Mandy GM8 mount in my backyard with an L-enhanced filter. This was 166 2-minute exposures after subframe selector, remove some, although I had a pretty good, this was all one night, and I had a better run than I usually do, and did not throw away as many images as I typically do.
I still don't see
And
the
where's the
queen. Can you
queen?
draw with your mouse?
Okay, so I can't, let's see if I can move my mouse. So here's her eye, here's her nose, the crown is up here. Maybe she has a scarf around her neck here.
I
Her chin
see
is
her.
down here.
Very good.
Yeah, I can see it.
There she
Like-
is.
Looks like her eyes closed. You see
Yeah,
the,
her eye is closed.
the bottom
She
of
looks
the
like
eyelid.
she's got
There's
some
her.
eyeliner on.
Never gonna see this the same.
Yeah, me neither. Very, very good, Jeff.
I gotta say, that's a stretch.
Speaking of stretches, this is one of the first images that I worked on with the generalized hyperbolic stretch that became available this spring. And I found that since I've been using it regularly, I find I can keep the background suppressed enough that it reduces the amount of noise reduction that I need to do compared to my old dragging the STF triangle over to histogram transformation and then applying it to the image, which always seems to blow out the background for me. Thanks.
Okay, that was great. We learned something there. Anybody else need to go?
I got one.
Okay,
Mine's different from what we've all seen so far. So this was taken with an FSQ 105 with a QHY 600. It's only an hour in each channel, and if you want to see the big picture, there it is. But you can certainly zoom in too.
Oh, there. So that shows the eagle.
There it is. There.
What's the field of view here?
This is about 4 by 3 degrees. I shot with a C14 at f11 for a long time, and now I've gone to the other extreme. Now I go as wide as I possibly can, which is
Very
this,
cool.
field of view here. I'm listening to you guys. I process in Star Tools. I'm a Star Tools person. I used PI for probably 7 years, and it just took too much time. So I used WBPP to pre-process the
the subframes to get the masters, and then I use Star Tools. So if you haven't heard of Star Tools, I would encourage you to look into it. The key that Evo has is he wants you to look at the color of the stars. You adjust your image for star color and let the nebula fall where it falls, which is opposite from what you do in PI. So anyway, just a different technique.
Okay, thank you. Do we have someone else who'd like to go?
Yeah, this is Tommy. I can go ahead and share my screen. Let's see.
We
This
see it.
was M13.
Nice.
This was did this on May 31st. It's probably one of the last really clear nights we had for the most part. This is with a 10-inch Ritchie Crescent at f8. So the focal length is a little over 2,000 millimeters. It's a total of 80 minutes exposure, 40 2-minute subs. RGB, no filters, nothing fancy. Processed in PI and Photoshop. I kind of go back and forth interactively with both of those packages.
Camera,
Pardon me?
camera,
The camera was a ZWA ASI 2600 one-shot color. And it was mounted on the Astrophysics 900 mount with guiding. I use a 60 millimeter ZWO guide scope with a 290 mm guide camera. And astrophotography tool is the acquisition software. So that's pretty much it. Really
Beautiful.
not much.
What do
very,
you-
very.
So,
How do you focus? Personally, I avoid these clusters because I have a very hard time focusing. So you've got a nice image here. Could you talk about how you focus?
generally, after the scope is settled down, it's an open tube truss design, so it actually settles down pretty quick. I'm actually bringing it out into a lot warmer weather from the cooler house, kind of the opposite of what I used to do in Wisconsin. But I focus usually with a Bahtinov mask just to check it. And then I recently had an EAF autofocus unit installed on this scope, which works really just as well. It gives me as good a result as the Bahtinov. And the scope is a fixed mirror design. You know, the primary and secondaries are fixed. So over the course of a night, I get very, very little drift and focus once it's set, you know, around 10 o'clock at night or so. I might check it once, maybe it needs a slight tweak at some point during an evening, but that's about it. It's if you use a Bahtinov mask, it's pretty simple and accurate. So
Well, it's beautifully sharp, and you got some nice star colors in there too.
yeah,
Great,
this
great
is
resolution on the core too.
thanks. Yeah, yeah, I used photometric color calibration in PixInsight, and I don't really tweak the colors too much. All I do is split them out from the background and adjust the saturation a little bit using a couple different tools in both PI and Photoshop. But I don't change, you know, the hues or anything like that during the process. So it's pretty much straight out of PCC. So.
Have you collimated that scope? And if so, how easy or hard is it?
Yes, I have. I've actually got several RC scopes, and I've collimated all of them. There's a procedure published by DSI. It's really the best procedure that I know of. A lot of people say stay away from centering your primary mirror, but that's actually the most critical thing I found. So DSI has a nice procedure for doing that. Basically, you're looking at a moderately bright star on axis, checking for coma, looking at the quality of the out of focus donut on axis rays. And then you adjust the primary to get that perfected. And then once that's done, you then look at out of focus stars around the periphery. And you either have a balanced or an unbalanced image if you want balanced. Balanced means that from the standpoint of radial directions, the stars are either all round or they all have the same shape pointing toward the center of the field. And if not, then you adjust the secondary mirror tilt to make it so. And it goes fairly quick. You have to use a CCD camera or CMOS camera on the scope and monitor what you're doing, on your computer monitor. But
Does it hold collimation pretty well?
Yes, it does. Very much so. You got push-pull screws. You got a set of 3 for the primary and 3 for the secondary. And once you get them adjusted, they're extremely stable. I collimated it once after I got the scope, and I haven't collimated it in quite a few months since then, and it's held perfectly. So it's very stable compared to my experiences with Schmidt-Cassegrains and other type scopes with moving primaries. So
Great image.
alrighty.
Awesome image.
Let's see, stop share. Thank you.
All right, I'm sure we've got some more folks that want to share their images. Who wants to go next?
You hear me?
Yeah, Brian,
Yep.
go.
Can you see it?
Not yet. Getting there.
Says you can see it now. Are you seeing it?
Yes.
We're good.
Yeah, see, now I look at it, now I see the queen there. But yeah, this one was, I took it at CAC, 120 shots, 45 seconds with the L enhanced. And it turned out pretty good.
What's your scope, Brian?
It's a 9¼ Edge HD. And then the camera is the Zowie ASI 294. Color single shot. And the filter is L enhanced on this one.
Mhm.
Looks good.
I've got another weird one that I took at Grand Canyon. And that one I was using the L Extreme. Let's see. Can I just close this picture and open another one? Will it keep it going?
Yeah. Yes.
This one I haven't finished processing it, but this is with the L enhanced.
That's interesting because I'm wondering about my L enhanced since mine looked more like a narrowband image when I
Well,
did.
I'm sorry, this one's L Extreme. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, the L Extreme was what I used to that I thought looked very close to my narrowband.
Well, see, and I haven't done a lot of processing with it. Basically I just ran out of time, but I, combined it, did the PCC and the DVE and stuff. And if I touch it up with Lightroom, it'll clean it up quite nicely. I just wasn't ready to do that and make it a permanent picture yet.
Okay. And this was a 294 camera?
Yes, same camera.
Okay.
And at 35 seconds versus 45, because I was at the Grand Canyon.
I think I'm just seeing a little bit of amp glow on the right-hand side of that, which I had that same problem with my 294 until I did some more.
Oh, I do see
darks.
it, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, doesn't that have something to do with the gain too?
I think so. And that's where you just need to make sure that your dark and your, yeah, in particular that your darks match what the exposure is.
Yeah, well, I don't think they did with this one because I had to redo I took a 40 dark and said, yeah, it's a 35 and used it. So it did, because I was in a hurry to see what this picture looked like. Because the problem I had with this was I dropped my camera and it was giving me Easter egg stars. And I found something when I was messing with it and it all seemed to pop back in place. And the stars look pretty good now, where you'd look at it before and they all look like Easter eggs. You try and get a nice round star and you end up with a star with 2 red eyes and a black mouth. Really screwed it up, but whatever, I found something, snapped it back in place on the camera and it seemed to take good pictures after that.
And are you using the one-shot color or the mono cam?
No, one shot color. Yeah, when I broke my telescope here a year ago, that's actually, has it been a year? No, it's been about 8 months now. The camera was on it too, and it evidently tweaked something in there. So I started messing with it and got everything back in place. And then this is the picture since I got everything that I wanted to take the pictures to make sure that the camera was working right before I took it in to get it fixed.
I don't like breaking stuff.
No, I don't either. At least the price wasn't too bad because the mirror didn't get broke. Just the corrector plate. Yeah, that's when my knee gave out on me. That's why I've had it replaced since then. But I figure for 40 pictures, this really isn't a bad picture.
Yeah, no, good.
Especially since I haven't finished processing it really yet. But a good catch on that amp glow. I'll have to remember that because I did turn the gain down. I must have turned it too far. Either that or the darks didn't, because the darks didn't match. It could have been part of it.
That was
As long
my
as the
darks.
darks match, I got a 294. As long as the darks match, there won't be amp glow.
Yeah, well, see, and I took a 40-second dark, and that's what I used and told Pix Insight that it was a 35, you know, in the WVPP. Because I just wanted to see what the picture itself turned out to be like and what the stars look like, and the stars look pretty good. But I was impressed for 35 seconds at Grand Canyon. That's all I've got.
All right, that's excellent. Thanks for that information. Have we got someone else who wants to share their screen, share their images?
Okay, now how do I turn sharing off?
I'm sure up at the top. There you go.
Like to go? Anybody? Okay, I guess we're down to me then.
No pressure.
So this is an image I took with a drone several years ago. I thought it was a good lead in for the Monsoon Challenge.
Is that here locally?
Yeah, the Catalina Mountains.
Okay, that looks really nice.
So Greg, you're not afraid to fly your drone in wet skies?
Well, you know how the monsoons are. It's wet here and dry over there. So I was lucky to be in a dry spot. Let me see if I can get this to advance.
Greg, when you're done,
Yeah.
I am just a beginner, but I do have images for both.
Okay. Well, for some reason, mine's not advancing. Let me stop this and start it over.
Good.
So I, like Lad, I shot both images and I got in before the monsoon started. This was the M13 shot with my 10-inch astrograph. And basically I just shot red, green, and blue through the 10-inch astrograph, 7.9 hours total. And then I combined the RGB to synthesize a luminance layer that I sharpened and then combined that for an LRGB. But so I got LSRGB up there to remind me that it was synthesized luminance, not actually shot through a clear filter.
And you retained
Very
some of
nice.
those galaxies I was looking for in mine.
Yeah, yeah. And then I wanted to try something different for M16. So I shot some luminance and some hydrogen alpha, about 12 hours of luminance and the rest was, 12 hours of hydrogen alpha and the rest was luminance, and combined those to try to get more of a high contrast look at the eagle or the star queen, however you want to look at her. And that's taken with the same scope and camera. And that's this image here. And then I thought, well, it's a shame not to add some color to it. So I shot 30 minutes each of R, G, and B and added that in. And in fact, I processed this in Maxim DL and Photoshop. And in Photoshop, I used the star exterminator to take the stars out and then brighten up the nebula and then put the stars back in. So this was the final product after going through all of that. And then the last thing I did was to just look at the hydrogen alpha, and there's a lot of background nebulosity around the star queen herself. And so this is a full frame image through the 10-inch astrograph, which is about 2 by 3 degrees, well, 1.5 by 2.5 degrees, I guess. And this is just the 12 hours of H alpha.
I like that
Go ahead.
monochrome though.
Yeah, I like this guy.
Yeah.
So Greg, to me,
Yeah.
this is the shape of the eagle. Someone asked earlier, well, where's the eagle? In my mind's eye, this is the eagle with the head of the eagle, this sort of spherical shape in the center at the top, and then the wings going out to the right and left. I don't know if anybody else sees the eagle.
That's
that
what
way.
I thought too.
Yeah,
In fact, I
that's
tried
what I
to find a cartoon drawing of an eagle that looked like this, and I really couldn't find one. But yeah, I think this is where they originally got the visual impression that this was something that resembled an eagle in flight.
You know, if you look at that triangular area right above the pillars of creation, that almost looks like the diving head of a raptor with the wings sweeping out left.
Yeah, yeah.
Of course, I've been ruined.
Yes,
Now I see the
exactly.
queen.
The queen's laying on her side. I can see it better this way.
Yeah, this is-
So can somebody help me? Where is the queen in this image? Because I've never seen the queen before. Seen this image before. Where's the queen? Can you help me?
She's laying on her back.
Yeah, if you can rotate that 90 degrees left, you'll see her a little better.
Okay, so where, Greg, can you point out her slit eye? Her
No, I don't see the queen at all.
you don't see it. Okay.
Sorry, I can't help you.
She's lying on her back. The eye
Okay.
is to the right. The light area that looks like the wing of the eagle is her forehead. The
Wait,
area
that's
where
not what I see.
To the right. Way to the right is her forehead. She's got two dark areas with little stars in them for her eyes.
There and here?
Yep, they're in there.
Oh, okay.
Now, I don't
Jeff,
think that's, I would
And
argue
this
that
is
the
her-
eye is right
this is
there.
her
That's her
nose?
mouth.
No,
Mouth.
Oh, she looks like-
to
she
me,
looks
that's
like Miss
her eyelid
Piggy.
closed.
That looks
Do
like
you-
her eyes.
Jeff, do you want to share what you're smoking?
It's expensive
think it
stuff,
would
for
help.
sure.
Well,
Kind of
it's a-
looks like
yeah.
Miss Piggy.
Yeah, see, I see a
isn't this-
completely different face.
I think it's just a prettier version of the Witch Head Nebula. isn't
Yeah.
it?
Okay, so
And
that,
I have to say, I really enjoyed on the ones that I was doing, the black and white, the monochrome images, especially the sulfur, I thought looked, I almost wanted to stop there.
yeah. Yeah, sometimes the monochrome images, carry a lot of weight. I like them sometimes better than the color. Okay, there was somebody else who wanted to share their screen?
That was me.
Vincent, okay.
And I should preface this with, I am a rank beginner. I just started doing this in February.
Awesome.
And learning PixInsight in itself has been just an absolute treat. But
That's a nice way to put it.
okay,
I've never heard someone refer to PixInsight that way.
Okay, so I'm trying to figure out how to open an image and place it here, though.
Down at the bottom of your screen, there should be an icon that says share screen with an up arrow.
Share screen. Yeah, I got that. I click on that. Okay, but now I have to go get my image, right?
But we can't see your screen yet.
Yeah, you have to have the image already open. Before
Yeah, you have to be showing your image just the way you'd see it if none of us were here.
Okay, well, I had it open, so let me do that again. Okay, now I've got it open. Now I'll come back here and share screen.
Yep.
Okay.
And then point at the image.
Not
Oh,
yet.
yeah, there it is. I think it's here.
Here it comes.
Getting there. There you go.
So I'm shooting. I got extremely lucky. I got to meet Dean at Starzona, and I ordered a Celestron C11, and it came in 6 months early. So I actually got it in February. So I'm shooting with that. I'm shooting with a Hyperstar and a ZWO 533. And I'm just starting to learn how to do the processing and everything else. But M16 was pretty attractive to me, but I thought, and I believe this is with the L Extreme. But I was afraid that my nebulosity was really blown out. But after seeing some of these images, I'm realizing that it's blowing out a little bit, but maybe not as much as I thought it was. But what I was trying for, and I don't know if you can see where my cursor is.
Yes.
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 I was trying to bring out this area in here and really bring it out, because I really thought this was one of the more interesting parts of this whole thing, was this exterior shell, so to speak. And I have an M13 too, but after having seen the other images of it, I don't think I'll bother.
Go ahead.
Yeah, put it up. It's a tough one.
It's small, and I didn't realize that there was a way to get it to be bigger.
Yeah, but when you're shooting with the Hyperstar, you've got a short focal length, so it is going to be a little harder.
And it's making me think that I want to start looking at another scope. And
welcome to
shoot.
Arizona.
Yeah, well, but Dean has just been he's been brilliant in his assistance, both he and Steve and the people in there. So this is my M13, and here I saw that a couple of other people did the same thing.
We don't see it, Vincent. It's not a.
Oh, okay, sorry.
You'll have to go up to the top and click new share and then select the image.
Resume share?
New share. Up at the top, you should see a green button that says
I
new
got it.
share.
I got it. I got it.
And then select the image and then it
Got
should
it.
come up.
Got it. Here
There
we
you go.
Yeah. So what I was trying to do here was to bring out this outer piece, but I wasn't able to successfully kind of diffuse the core, so to speak, and keep the detail.
Well, at 45 seconds at F19, it's going to blow out the core. So
Yeah, I'm just starting to learn that. I mean, one of the
Yeah.
hardest things to learn was what kind of exposure you can have.
Well, on this one, 5 or 10 seconds at that f-stop is probably all you can do and get the core.
Well, now I stayed away from globular clusters for quite a while because they were so intimidating to me. But now I'll just try shorter exposures and see what I can do with them.
Yeah, just a lot of little ones.
But I'm having a lot of fun learning this. It's can I share with you the one that I have processed that I have enjoyed the most, which is not, I'm sorry to say, either one of these. Let me see if I can get it up quickly. It's SH2 275.
You're gonna have to share your screen again.
Yeah, I'm opening it up. Yeah, okay, now back here. Where'd it go? I lost the share screen thing. Share screen.
Got it.
Oh, here it is. Yeah. And that's SH2 275. So I've been experimenting between 30 and 45 seconds on most of these. This is another 30 second. And I was kind of pleased with this. It turned out halfway decent. I'm sure the red is overdone, but like I said, I'm just learning.
Yeah, and what filter were you using?
I think this was also an L extreme. Steve got me started with a new filter that I started to work with in June. And unfortunately, I'm in rodeo and Monsoon came early. And so I haven't been able to shoot much with it, but those filters have been interesting. I actually come out of a background with photography, and I actually did most of my photography processing with Capture One, if any of you know what that is. It's medium format processing. Photoshop was never designed to be for photo processing. And I talked with those guys at the 20th anniversary. The reason they bought Lightroom and took on Lightroom was because they wanted a clean chassis to hang the components on. Photoshop was really designed for graphic artists and it was not designed for photography. So every time they hung a component on it, a photographic component on it, it created a problem somewhere else. And so it started becoming a whole system of kludges. And it's functional, but it's not ideal. And their hope is that eventually Lightroom will become the replacement. But Capture One was designed for medium format, and it's probably the best RAW converter out there. And it's very user-friendly for processing once you learn it. It's kind of like PixInsight. Anyway.
On one is another good alternative.
What's that?
On one is another good alternative.
Okay. Well,
All right.
I'm learning from looking at what you guys do, and it's a lot of fun. So thank you.
Okay. We have one other person who wants to present some information this evening. That's Rick Paul, and he wants to spend just a few minutes talking about how you can get your pictures displayed at CAC. So Rick, if you're ready to go, I know you've got a couple of slides you'd like to share.
But you're on mute.
Yeah, give me a second. Let me get this going here. Okay, everybody can see my screen?
Yes.
Yes.
Let me get my control back. Oh,
Is
it's
CAC the Chiricahua facility?
Yes.
Thank you.
okay. So as you all aware, we're constructing a new building down at the CAC facility. The building itself is almost done. They're starting to work on the interior. And the thought had occurred to me that we're going to have a lot of blank walls in there. So why not decorate the walls with member artwork? And I'm a retired professional photographer myself, so I have some experience in things like this. So yeah, again, with many rooms, you know, and walls, we wanted to decorate the interior of the building. So what we're going to be looking for is we need approximately 12 images. There's 10 bedrooms and kind of figuring 2 for the main classroom. The prints will be printed in something between an 11 by 14 and a 16 by 20. That's the size you kind of need to fill a big blank wall to look decent. So printing that large, we will need high resolution, sharp images for this. I haven't laid down any, requirements for, this much size, this much resolution. I'm going to leave that up to everybody else to be their own judges if their stuff is, sharp enough and can be sized up that large. So this is a diagram of the CAC facility. You can see the bedrooms there, and then the big classrooms. That's where I got the count of the bedrooms in the classroom. So the image selection process, I created some categories, and I've routed this around, and so far nobody's told me they want to change any of my categories. So until someone tells me they want me to put something else here, but the thought was we'd have specific objects we want to shoot and use those to judge against. So we'll pick the best Orion Nebula, the best Flame Horsehead, the Rosette, maybe the double helix or something in that vein. So it's a few galaxies, a globular cluster, e.g. M13, Andromeda. Maybe I put in here a wide view summer, wide angle Milky Way shot with the landscape in the background, in the foreground. Lagoon Nebula, Jupiter or Saturn. Someone's got a big scope, Jupiter and Saturn coming up. Get a good image of Jupiter or Saturn. An open cluster, and then one miscellaneous category just for anything else out there. The reason that I selected these objects were, these are, big, well-known objects, and these are objects that the students are going to be out at CAC with, could likely be seeing objects like this out there. So the way we'll do this is members will submit their images according to one of these categories. And then, I'm going to be the coordinator for this. I will take those images and I will assign a number to them. And so I'm going to be the only one who knows who the person was with the image and what that Rosetta Stone is. And then we'll have a selection committee yet to be named. that will review the images in each of the categories, pick the best one in each category, and then we will pick a winner. Thought about, we're in no super rush to do this, so I set a deadline for April 15th of next year. Thought that would give everybody time to shoot late summer, fall, and winter targets, and maybe early spring targets. Not that you couldn't submit an image you already had, but I think the idea was here, go out and do something fresh, with your latest equipment and everything, and really try to nail one of these targets well. So that's why we kind of said, let's try for now through April 15th. This picture here is actually an example of how we're going to mount the images. We don't want the images falling off the wall, getting bumped or getting taken. This is a metal post design. The print itself is actually printed on a sheet of metal. It doesn't show up well here, but they're really stunning. These metal prints really look sharp. And they do have a protective coating over them. And then the metal posts screw into the wall. So no one's taking these off the wall. They are anchored to the wall very securely. What'll happen is after the winners are selected, I'll work with the winner to make sure their image is going to print well. I have a little thing here, not always what looks good on screen prints well. It's sometimes you have to brighten the image a little bit more than what would look good on the screen to get it to print right. And I've got experience doing that with this printer of what looks good. Things that are too much in the things in the shadows. Actually, this image with Andromeda, the first time I tried it, it looked great on screen. It came out too dark, so I had to brighten it up to get it to print right. That's just a cell phone picture of that picture. It looks better than that in real life. So, trust me. For the final image, you don't have to send this for the judging, but for the final images, I'll want a high resolution TIFF file sent to me through the WeTransfer.com website. That way we can transfer huge files easily. And then I'll work with you, and I have a professional lab that I use that will do this printing for us. And I'm going to coordinate with them ahead of time too, to let them know what this project is, what we're going to be doing, and they will also help make sure that the files I get them will print well. They will help us with that, because it's going to be a fairly substantial order to them as we do this.
Do these images have to be taken at CAC?
No, they don't. You can take them
Okay.
anywhere.
Thank you.
That's not required. I've been asked that before, but no, it wasn't the idea that you have to take them at CAC to hang them in CAC.
Well, I know the montage that's in some other place are supposed to all be CAC images. That's
Yeah.
why I asked.
Yeah, no, and one thing I also thought that I do is I'm also going to get little brass tags printed, the little tags that have sticky backs to them, and you can stick them onto things. And I'll put what the image is and the person who shot it on there. So each image will have that mounted on here. So covering the costs, the club doesn't have the money budgeted to handle this as such. So what we've thought of is the winners of the selected images will be asked to help cover the cost of the prints. These prints aren't super expensive. The 11 by 14s are about $75 right now. With the rate of inflation, who knows? And the 16 by 20s are about $117. So figure about $100. Now these prints will remain on the wall at CAC. We're figuring for about 2 years or so. And then we'll do this again and invite new images to come in. And when that happens, when your image is removed, it will be given to you. So you will get it. And now we also may get donations from folks to this print fund that would help cover the cost also. So I'll be looking for anybody that wants to donate, just donate to this to help cover the costs. And question, now I do have a PDF version of this file. I'm gonna get Greg to email it out to everybody so you all have it. There's my email address if you want to contact me for any questions. And be sure anybody who wasn't in this meeting, who's a member who you might know might be interested, be sure and get that information. I'm sure when Greg and Jim and everybody sends us all out, it'll get to everybody. So are there any questions?
I assume this is with data you've captured yourself. We don't want people, buying data, do we?
That hadn't occurred to me before. The thought was data you capture yourself, but I don't think it would be out of reason. Like, I know there's telescopes online like that in Chile where you can rent time on it and tell that telescope to go shoot something for you. But Jim, what do you think? What are your thoughts on data mined images?
No, I think that would be fine. Ideally, I think it would be better to have to do ones that you've taken yourself. But if you wanted to use a like a Southern Hemisphere telescope to take the data and use that data, that'd be fine. I don't know that, if you're just going to process somebody else's data, I don't know that we want to do that.
Yeah.
And the rooms are coming along. We'll probably actually have the rooms done and ready for business by the end of the year. So, we'll have to see once we get furniture in there, and we're gonna have a lot of TVs on the walls in the training room. So we'll see exactly what wall space we have before we finalize how many prints and everything.
Right.
But we should, like Rick said, at least be able to do one print in each bedroom and probably one, maybe two out in the learning center.
And if we have
And
enough
we are
wall,
gonna-
if we have enough wall space in the learning center, whoever submits the absolute best image may get the honor of having a very large print. Because those are bigger walls. Bigger walls need bigger images.
Yeah, unfortunately, we're planning right now of probably putting 4 55-inch TVs around that building, plus in that room,
Okay.
plus a large screen, so that we have lots of flexibility for doing different things on monitors. But again, I think we should be able to find room for at least one in there. We want to have them up there.
Okay, well, thanks for bringing that up, Rick, and I'm sure you're going to get some submissions maybe sooner than you'd expect them. So possibly some of the ones we saw this evening.
Yeah.
Some of them were really, really good.
Yeah.
All right. Any questions
Yeah.
or comments that anybody wants to bring up before we call it an evening? All
This
right.
was great. I learned a lot. It was great to compare the work I did to what I saw from all of you and continue to see the bar raised in front of me. Thanks.
I agree. I feel like this is, I think, the third session I've seen, and it's a great learning experience. So thank you.
Okay, good. We'll try to keep it going in that direction. One last thing before we stop. If you have a specific topic that you would like to see covered that you think would be of interest to others, please email me directly. My email is usually at the bottom of the ones I send out with your suggestion, because we want to try to make sure that we meet the needs of the folks who are most interested and show up here every month. So if you have a particular topic that you'd like to see covered, please let me know about it. It might not be the next month, but we'll try and work it in sometime in the future. Okay. Thanks, everyone. And we'll hope to see you in August.
Thanks, Greg.
Thank
All right.
you.
Take care.